Welcome to another episode of Backpacking America. We have some great content planned for you guys today, but first, a word from our sponsors.
How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? I really appreciate the opportunity to join you today. My name is Greg, and I am from Supreme Parties. What is Supreme Parties? Well, we're a professional DJ entertainment company that has been around since 1994, and we do everything: weddings, bar mitzvahs, sweet 16s, anniversaries, corporate events, Spanish, you name it, we do it all. You can find us at supremeparties.com. That's SUPREMEPARTIES.com, and you can reach us at 888-877-2270. Again, that's 888-877-2270. Professional DJs at your service, there for you from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. every single day. And we're the real deal, by the way. We don't use playlists. If you want to change and you want a real DJ and you want to have a great party, call us. You've tried the rest. Now try the best.
Welcome to episode 292 of Backpacking America. I'm here with Anthony Natale. You've seen him many times on this show before. We're not talking about insane ramblings. He's also a real estate agent at Coldwell Banker. M&D Goodlife.
M&D Goodlife.
M&D Goodlife. I call it myself. This time. So Anthony's here to talk to us today about the recent National Association of Realtors lawsuit that just happened. And it's going to have some huge impacts to the real estate industry, particularly to sellers agents. And he's going to talk a little bit about why that's pretty detrimental to someone that wants to sell their home and how it's going to prevent you from being able to have someone to advocate for your best interests when purchasing a home from a buyer's agent. So, Anthony, thank you for coming on, and let me hear what you got, man.
Well, first, I just want to say thank you very much for having me back on, this time for official business. Like he said, those of you who haven't seen me before, I'm a local real estate agent to Long Island. I've been in the business for getting close to 3 years now, and I work with a team who's been doing this for over 18 years. So we have a lot of experience. And starting off, I just want to get you to understand how the process has worked, how it works, just so you get an idea of what these changes are going to impact. Mm-hmm. So when you go to buy a house or sell a house, you want somebody who's to represent your best interest. So that's why you, for the most part, would go with a real estate agent. You do always have that option to go on your own, but then you're out for yourself. There's nobody representing you. Now, when you go to sell a house, you get in contact with an agent. You say, all right, I want to list this house for this price, and you negotiate the commission. This entire thing is over commission. Now, when you negotiate with that realtor, you say, all right, I'll do commission for this set amount. It could be 3%, could be 4, 5, 6%. Could even be $1 if they agreed to that. It's always been negotiable. Now, a buyer would have a buyer's agent representing them. Now, when it comes to closing, that percentage of commission is split evenly between the selling agent and the buyer's agent, as they're both put an equal amount of worth, representing both of their sides. And formally, it's always been paid out through the seller. So whatever they make on the house, they pay the commission to both sides. With what's going on right now, give you a little bit more background. The National Association of Realtors is a trade organization that realtors pay into. Now, we pay into this kind of as a group to receive the designation of realtor. Now, becoming a realtor, they offer you a lot of benefits. You don't need to become a realtor to be a real estate agent, but it's kind of a formality, as a lot of brokerages won't even hire you if you're not designated a realtor. Now, the National Association of Realtors, of course, is nationally. It's across the entire United States. And the main benefits of it is this association is pledged to having a higher code of conduct, the best representation, and generally it benefits everybody because you're looking out for your clients. Mm-hmm. And being a part of that is to represent those standards.
So how are sellers going to be impacted by this? Like what will they lose by essentially not being able to have an agent? Because from my understanding of the law,
so the sellers aren't being as impacted as much than the buyers.
Okay.
It's the buyers who will have to make the choice of if they want an agent or not. But we'll get to that in a second. So the main draw of being a part of NAR, besides, of course, being hired by a broker, who they want that as a requirement, is you get access to your local multiple listing service. Mm-hmm. Now think of MLS, multiple listing service, as Zillow, but 100 times better. It's agent-only use, but it gives you all the information that you'll need. Everything. You can look up property records. You have access to every single listing as soon as it hits the market, before anything else gets it. And a lot of other benefits. But coming into the lawsuit, one of the main things that this lawsuit was addressing was buyer's commission, or buyer agent's commission, was not stated on MLS. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of detail into this lawsuit. A couple, who I'll leave unnamed, sold their house. Now, this predates all the way back into 2017. A couple sold their house. Listing price, asking price, $600,000. The house actually sold for $590,000, and they weren't too happy about that. They lost what they believed to be $10,000 of what they believed their home to be worth. And then on top of that, they had to pay out the buyer's agent, who was actively negotiating against them for a lower price. So in that situation, they felt wronged, and they sued the National Association of Realtors and tons of other big name brokerages like RE/MAX, for example. Now, this lawsuit is planting its foot on the fact, stating that they believe brokerages are training their agents that commission is a set standard, but in reality, it's never been. It's always been negotiable. When a seller wants to list their house, one of the first things they do is they negotiate the commission. Because how commission is split is evenly between the buyer's agent and the seller's agent, no matter what percentage that is. Mm-hmm. As you said, how is this going to affect them? The main effect of this is going to be that sellers are no longer going to be required to pay out a commission to the buying agent. So if a buying agent wants commission or flat rate fee, whatever is going to be discussed, that's going to be coming out of the buyer's pockets. Now,
not out of the seller.
Not out of the seller. So in a sense, the seller can still charge whatever they're charging, and the selling agent might be paid more. Or the sellers can look at it as they don't have to pay out the buyer's commission, so they're going to try and give less of a commission to the selling agent, try and save more money. There's a lot of different angles to this.
But overall, do you think this is going to have a negative impact on the real estate industry, or do you think that it's going to be like different types of pricing where it's like, okay, well, you have to give me like $5,000 for me to work with you and, get you, like kind of like how like lawyers' fees work? Like, do you think it's going to be like that, where it's like, hey, listen, give me $5,000 of a house that's worth this or that if you buy it, or X, Y, or vice versa with sellers?
I think it's going to definitely have more of a negative impact to start. I mean, we'll see how it evolves, because nothing's set in place yet, but it's definitely going to have a negative impact, as a lot of buyers are going to forego representation. And what's important is, why having a buying agent is important is because they represent you and your best interests. And if you don't have someone who's representing you in your best interests, working your deal, doing their due diligence, the selling agent has no fiduciary responsibility to you at all. They're looking out for their client, which is the seller. Now, because commission is now going to have to be paid out from the buyer to the buying agent, a lot of buyers are going to forego a buying agent, and they're going to get taken advantage of, which is a negative thing. But there's a lot of different ways that this can go in the long term. I mean, we might see it as buying agents will put offers in on the house with their part of the commission included. So say I'm a buyer's agent, and I say, all right, here's this offer. We're going to offer you $500,000 on this house, but a 1.5% commission. You as the seller can then counter offer and say, okay, I'll accept this offer for $500,000 and $7,500 on top of that. Basically, that being the commission, but the buyer's paying for it.
Okay, and now they're aware that they're going to have to pay for that commission, the buyer.
Yeah. So one of the agreements for this entire thing is that the buyer has to sign a buyer's agreement stating the terms of which the buyer's agent is going to be paid before they show them a single listing.
Now, will this decision make it cheaper to own a home for Americans, or is it going to be relatively the same?
Yeah, I would say relatively the same. I don't see this really having any effect on housing prices, but this is more of an effect on negotiations and how agents get paid. Now, what we brought up before with the buyer's agent needs to have a buyer-broker agreement, there's also two other actions that are proposed to be put in place with this class action lawsuit. And the first of them being that all buyer agents' commissions are not included or published in MLS. As I mentioned that before, MLS would have all the information, and the selling agent would have the commissions priced up there. So say it's 5%, you'd see on there, okay, 5%. Now, where this is also kind of a problem is that you can look at that as a draw for buying agents. Like, say I'm a buying agent and I'm saying, oh, there's two houses that are very similar to what my client is looking for. This one is paying 6%. This one is paying 2%. If I'm that person, I want to close a 6% commission over a 2% commission. But that's not fair to the buyer, because the buyer can't negotiate that. So it's like a give and take with this. We're going to see a lot of different changes, but the buyers are going to have to negotiate their own form of, payment towards the buying agent before they even start working with them.
I see. So it's mostly just going to be like they're going to be hunting down percentages instead of just taking in work like they do now.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Because they can negotiate whatever they want. Like they could even do a flat rate. They could do a flat rate fee. They could do an hourly rather than just like a strict commission.
Do you think the turnover rate for real estate agents is going to increase? Because I know that there's at least 40,000 realtors on Long Island that are registered. Do you think more people are going to have their licenses lapse as a result of this decision?
I would say not as many, as you'd come to expect, because you have 40,000 real estate agents on Long Island, but not all of them work full time. A lot of agents, they work a full-time job. They do real estate on the side. They do it part-time, or they really only sell to family and friends. And that's where it comes down to. You're going to see this split. You're going to see this split. It's going to be more competitive, and there's going to be this split of, the agents who don't really know what they're doing, who do this part-time, the agents who don't do a good job of representing their client, looking out for their best interest, and then, that agent that does the due diligence, that agent that has, sticks to their fiduciary responsibilities. They know every nook and cranny around a house. They know what to look for with the home inspection. They know how to negotiate. They know how to either negotiate for more or for less, depending on what side you're on. But there's definitely going to be a divide.
I see. So that's interesting too, because I know that a lot of people do real estate is a part-time thing. So do you think they're probably gonna see less work as a result? So it's gonna be more of a professionalization of the real estate industry, meaning it's not going to be great for part-timers. Or I could even see brokerages saying you can't be part-time anymore. You have to be this is a full-time commitment.
It also depends if if that's a part-timer who primarily deals in buyers or sellers. Because for the sellers, see, not much is really going to change, other than the fact that they no longer have to pay a buyer's agent commission.
So if you're a buyer's agent, you're really going to be, it's going to be more cutthroat.
Wouldn't say cutthroat. It's definitely going to be more difficult.
Okay.
Because of course, nobody wants to work for free.
Yeah, no.
You got to make sure you're getting paid.
Well, I'd be shitting my pants right now if I was a buyer's agent. I mean, that's a lot of my income is going to be gone. And so pretty much now, I also saw something too when I was doing my reading on it, that commissions can't be disclosed on MLS anymore. So pretty much, so how would a buyer's agent get paid under this new ruling, which takes effect in July, right?
So it's not official.
Okay.
It's supposed to go through the courts. Some people are saying July. Some people are expecting it the end of the year. So we'll see what happens, because none of this is put into place yet, besides the fact that they agreed to settle. So this was a $2 billion lawsuit. And now they reached an agreement, I believe, March 15th, to settle for $418 million. That's going to be paid out over the next 4 years.
To this couple?
No, because it's a class action.
Oh.
So anyone who's been affected nationwide. A lot going on. But as you said, so how a buyer's agent is going to get paid depends on the buyer. If they have to negotiate with their buyer-broker agreement. So before I even show you a house, say I'm a buyer's agent, before I even show you your house, I'm going to slide you a piece of paper that says, all right, I'm going to be representing you for this, that, this. But in that paper, it's an agreement, it's a contract. It'll go over the terms of which I am to be paid, whether it's going to be, a percentage commission, like I mentioned before. It could be a flat rate, it could be an hourly, or this could also in some instances, not affect anything. Some sellers might just keep everything business as usual, and they will still offer a buyer's agent commission to be paid by the seller. Now,
it's not like the same where it was a 50-50 split.
It's not the split. It's now that sellers don't have to pay out a commission to a buying agent.
Oh, they don't have to.
They don't.
Okay, so
before they had to.
So now the buyer would have to they would have to charge the person wanting to solicit their services directly. So if I want to buy a house and you're my agent, if this new rule takes effect, the paper you're going to slide me over is going to say, listen, like, here's my fee.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay.
The way it used to work, everything would be paid by the seller. And why this is a problem now for buyers is because, well, you're the buyer. You already have to pay a down payment. You will probably have to pay closing costs, and that's a lot of money out of pocket. Now, to pay a buyer's agent commission on top of that, a lot of people are just going to opt out to go without an agent.
I see. Well, how much would that split be? Like, what's the average now?
I mean, there's not really a direct average.
$2,000 to $5,000. I mean, I don't know, to get represented.
Everything's different because it's different because each house sells for a certain amount, and there is a certain percentage off of that house.
I think what's going to end up happening is you're going to just see a lot of buyers agents charging $500 to $1,000 per client to just get represented. That's what I would do, at least, because I would just have like different packages where it's like, okay, you want me to represent? Now, I'm not a real estate agent, so correct me if this is illegal or whatever, but I would just be like, okay, for the basic package, I'll just give you a list of, houses, and we'll check them out. For the intermediate package, it's $750. You get XYZ. I don't know. I don't even know how your industry really works.
Yeah, no, that kind of stuff wouldn't fly because you can't charge per amount of representation.
I see.
Like, we have a code of conduct to where we have certain fiduciary responsibilities to our clients.
So, out of everything promised in that code of conduct, if I charged $500 to give you everything promised in that code of conduct, is that legal?
I mean, technically, you can charge. I mean, if accepted, you could pay your agent $1 if they accepted it.
Because I think that's what's going to end up happening. Is there's just going to be different flat fees for representation, and
I think it'll still go based off of percentages because each house is different. You could be looking at the $300,000 house compared to a $800,000 house, and the prices for everything just is not the same.
Right.
But if anything, it would be like, all right, I want 1.5% commission off of whatever the selling price is, but what you can still do as a buyer, like I said before, is in the offer, you could slip that in the offer. It's not mandatory for a seller to pay out the buyer's agent, but you can still ask that in the offer. Say, all right, we want to offer this for $500,000, 1.5% commission to be paid out to the buyer's agent.
So how's your brokerage dealing with this potential ruling? Has there been any discussion how Coldwell's going to change strategy to mitigate it? Or?
Personally, my brokerages, or my broker, because we're Coldwell Banker, but what I deal with is down here, Coldwell Banker, M&D Goodlife, which my broker's in Patchogue, Sugarlee. My office is in Wading River, and our other office is in Mauritius. We're, for the most part, we've always been pretty seller heavy.
Okay.
Especially the way we go about getting our leads, where we've always been mainly focused on the sellers. But it's not really much we can do for a for like a plan or a strategy when we don't even know what the ruling is yet. Because all of this right now is just proposed. It's still up in the air. Nobody knows. It's not going to be put in place until the courts, make that ruling. So there's still a lot that could happen.
So is it in the Supreme Court right now, or is it working its way up through?
I think right now it's still in litigation.
Litigation, okay. Wow, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. There's always this, at least in my industry, like a similar fear would be having to pay for access to engage with social media platforms. Like X is like the intermediate where I was like, oh, okay, like next they're going to charge a subscription just to use it. But, if that's a devastating ruling to someone in my industry, where it would be like, all right, well, now you have to pay $20 a month to use Facebook and Instagram, So that's like, I don't know. I'd be shitting my pants if I was a realtor right now. You personally, like, say the litigation goes through the way it is right now, would you focus more on being seller oriented, or would you just try to take anyone you can?
I mean, I run my business on the sense that, I'm here to help everybody. It just so happens that I've primarily worked with sellers. I have worked with a couple buyers, but most of my work has been done with the sellers market. Mm-hmm. But I'm about helping everybody. Mm-hmm. So especially a lot of people that I know who they can't afford to buy right now, but they're looking to rent or anything. So it's definitely going to be tricky going down the road, but
well, it's also harder because, like, I also have my life insurance license, so a lot of people our age don't care about life insurance, and they also can't buy a house. So a lot of the market in the insurance and the real estate industry is people in their 40s and up. So it's a very difficult trend, especially now with all these changes on top of that. I feel really bad for you guys, and I'm not going to lie. Some people, I've talked to some real estate agents, and they say that you're going to see brokerages closing left and right. Some people have the opinion you have, where it's like, it's not really going to be in effect. I've yet to see anyone say that it's going to be better for real estate. I think it's definitely, like you said, it's too early to tell, but I know that this past fall and winter has been pretty devastating for the market, especially for our commercial real estate brokers. But so this is definitely the last slow season, and this litigation that's going on. It definitely leaves me concerned for the industry as a whole, especially for mortgage brokers, because they're shot right now with the way. Unless you're a lender, if you're a lender, you're fine. But a traditional mortgage broker it doesn't look good at all. I mean, I'm really concerned that there might, as a whole, be another housing bubble. I don't know if that's going to happen.
People have been saying that for the past 4 years, but the trends that have been happening, it's been slowly coming down, but that's the key word, slowly. Not as fast as people would like. I would like to go on in saying what you mentioned about, most people being over 40, older people, because when I first got my license, I was 19. Giving you a little background, I had a late birthday, so I graduated high school at 17. I went to college. I went to college for business, got my associates, graduated, went straight into the real estate market. Now, as a freshly out of college, 19-year-old with not a lot of experience, it is very difficult to get people to trust you with their house. A house is the biggest purchase somebody makes in their entire life, for the most part. For the average Joe, it's the biggest purchase they will make in their entire life. Their entire life is that house. They want to go with somebody who's the most experienced, knowledgeable, and is going to do right by them. So it was definitely tricky. I mean, it still always is.
Well, it's still difficult, and I feel like that's hard. That's hard at 19 to do, especially like I guess it's also like a maturity aspect. Like when I was 19, I didn't go into business for myself. I actually didn't want to be in business. I was like, business? That's bourgeois decadence. I don't need that. And then I realized after I graduated, I was like, wow, I'm going to be poor if I don't do something. So here I am now. But I agree with you. I think also like, yeah, it's an age thing. And then also like, you just need like a reputation too, and a niche. So I personally think anyone getting into a sales-based, service-based industry, find something you like, niche it, and then go to as many networking meetings as you can. I mean, I go to 1-516-631-ADS. Shout out to David Gustin and Peter Ciccone. You guys run a really great, tight-knit group. Doing groups like that has helped my business exponentially. And then also just having like having a different concept. It's harder in your industry though, because you're actually beholden to a brokerage, and there's like certain strategies that you're taught. So it's harder. But
another thing about being an agent is we get most of our business from word of mouth and past clients.
So you need something marketing like this, pretty much, to set you apart.
Yes and no.
Not to pitch you.
But that's why, personally, I believe that like the commission structure we've had is already has been efficient, is because in that example I mentioned before, say I'm the buyer's agent. Oh, I see two very similar listings. This one's 6%. This one's 2%. If I know in my head that this house that's 2% commission, even though it's similar to the other one, is the best fit for my client, I'm definitely showing them that one. And if they're going to be happier with this house, you're not trying to push them in the other direction, because we know that having that client happy, even though you're taking a little bit of a pay reduction, having that client happy, they're going to tell everyone else, oh, hey, I worked with so-and-so, and they found me the perfect house, they did everything best by me, blah, blah, blah. And then that's who you get referrals.
Well, that's good business.
Our industry is built upon referrals, that return business. Because, all right, say I sell someone a house. Oh, they're in this house for like 5-10 years. Oh, they want to move to a different state. Now they want to sell the house. Who are they going to come back to?
Going to come back to you. And that's what's cool too, is like, I think this ruling, there's a silver lining to it as well, just from what I'm hearing, where now it actually forces you to have good business practice, where it's like, now you're going to actually be like, okay, I get a pay cut for this, but this is going to be better for the client. And I feel like also it's going to eliminate laziness in it, where it's like, oh, well, I get paid 10% whether I sell them this house or that house, so, or 6%, excuse me. I get paid 6% either way, so I don't really care what they do. I've had real estate agents, when I was looking for an office, they've said to me, it's like, listen, I make $100 off this, I really don't care what you do. I'll help you, but it doesn't give me any money. And it's like, you want someone that actually cares to be involved in the process. Like, sometimes you might get a higher payout. You might get a 20%. Who knows? Because
no, definitely not.
I don't know. Listen, I don't
definitely not. I would say commissions cap out at nobody's getting higher than 6.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's just like, you might make less on a sale, but I think it encourages more research and more enthusiasm in getting a higher commission.
I'd say there's only really one big loser in this, and that is the buyers themselves.
Yeah, they're getting fucked.
Because the buyers are now going to have to pay out their commission out of their own pocket to the buying agent.
So let's run
for representation.
Let's run through a scenario. I mean, say I'm buying a house and it's like, all right, fuck it, I really don't want to spend the 6%. I'm just going to buy this house myself. What's the danger in that for the buyer?
Well,
Going
having an agent, you're having someone who's looking out for you and your best interest, someone who's doing their due diligence, all the research onto the house, a lot of things you might not have known, especially doing a home inspection for you. I would say the main danger is you being taken advantage of by the seller and the seller's representation. If they say, all right, you go through my mortgage guy, this, that, and then buyer's regret. Like you buy a home that you're not happy with because you find out it has a bunch of problems you didn't know about.
It's like buying a car off the street.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you didn't know about these problems because you didn't have someone to represent you. So if I'm a buyer's agent, it's my job to find out everything. If you want to put an offer on this house, I want to find out everything on this house. Second, we get the home inspection in. We want to inspect everything, know if there's any, damage, like cracks in the foundation. There could be a missing CO for a pool. There's a lot of things that you as the average consumer, you have no idea about. So going agentless, you're thinking, oh, I'll save myself some money.
But it could cost you in the long run. That's the thing too, like I've adopted that attitude recently where it's like, I'd rather pay a little more for something that works all the time than save the money and get screwed later on. I mean, I used to have the attitude of, oh, I'll save as much as I can. Like I'll save $10 here and $20 here. And then it ends up not working out for me. Mm-hmm. Like I think that if you're willing, I think having a representative is a great investment. Look at it as an investment, because if you do go with an agent, yeah, you might spend another $2,000 to $5,000, but you're getting something you definitely want. You don't have to worry about anything. The agent's taking care of it. You don't have to do your research or anything like that. If you have questions, someone's willing to answer it for you. And then on top of that, you also have someone that you could now sell your house to, use a seller's agent in the future. So, and you could probably save yourself $20,000 to $50,000 making up for something that you don't know about. Now, you might get lucky and you might buy this pristine property with nothing wrong with it, but 9 times out of 10, especially if you're buying an older house, there's probably going to be cracks in the foundation. There's probably going to be mold. There's probably going to be, my house was a converted bungalow that was owned by crackheads for 20 years and prostitutes. So when we renovated our house after owning it for like 20 years, we were like, wow, look at all these wires that lead to nowhere that are still alive. Look at this. We actually need to really refinish our basement because it's leaking. Mm-hmm. So, you could run into something like that where it looks really nice on the outside, and then you buy it and you're like, oh, fuck, that's 50 to 100 grand gone. That we could have just saved the money, paid the agent to research it, and then not chosen the house and moved next door where it's actually a real property. So, end of the day, you going with representation is the best option, especially when you're, anything major like health insurance, or if you're going to purchase life insurance, or if you're going to do investments, or because I know a lot of people do, and this isn't to go off rail, but a lot of people do investing on their own time. They don't invest with a investment manager. They don't invest with an advisor, with a financial advisor. It's you're just kind of like, oh, I think this is the right way to go, and they'll do it. Which, hey, listen, more power to you. If you become a day trading sensation overnight, write a book. Seriously, I'll buy it. But most of the time, most people that are just getting into finances, they should have a financial advisor. If you're elderly and you are going to go into a nursing home, you need someone to give power of attorney to. Because point is, no matter where you are in life, you need someone to represent. Like, if I wanted to rent a place, to be honest, like, I wish I had a real estate agent, because there were some things about the place I'm at right now that I didn't know about, which I'm not too fucking happy about, Regis. So, if I had one of the things being that the lights fucking shut off at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a weekend. I did not know that. So if you see a shadow over here, sorry.
And if you're wondering why I wasn't his agent, is because I didn't find out that he had an office until he signed the papers.
Yep. I was like, oh, I saw this on Facebook. This looks good. Because in my mind, and this is another misconception that we should talk about, is, real estate agents aren't just for buying things. They're also for renting things. You can use a realtor when you rent, which I did not know until I signed the papers.
Most people, I would say, most realtors don't like dealing with rentals because it's a whole different ball game and they don't get paid as much. Usually the payment, like you mentioned, your other realtor who you talked to said, oh, I only get paid this flat rate. Either you get paid a flat rate or you get like the first month's rent. So people don't try to attack it as much.
Yeah.
But in said scenario, it would have been, very useful to have someone.
And it's still money. Like, you're still getting paid. Like, I do jobs where it's like, hey, it's X amount for one time. When I first started my company, I took any price, really. I mean, not a pack of cigarettes and $20, but when I first started, it was like, all right, you want to do $35 an hour for all this? Okay, fine. You want to do $200 for this? Okay, fine. Now, obviously, I don't do that, and I don't have to do that. But and I wouldn't do that again. But when you're starting, I mean, well, not that I wouldn't do it again, but like, if someone came up to me and it was like, I was out and they're like, hey, listen, I got a quick job for you for $200. Like, can you do it? I'd be like, all right, I could use an extra $200. You should always help people. Not that you should undersell yourself, but if I was selling a product, like for my life license with the company that I'm licensed under, I can also sell Legal Shield. And I get $40. I get a one-time payment of $40 for Legal Shield. So it's like, I'll sell Legal Shield policies. I don't care if it's a $40 policy or $300 policy. I don't give a fuck. Even with my company right now, I mean, I think the lowest service I have is graphic design for $75 an hour. Someone comes up to me and they're like, hey, can you do this for me? I'll be like, yeah, sure. It's a one-time project, whatever, fine. I don't care. Any job, I'm not going to, try to. I'll obviously pitch with my more popular services, but if you want the most basic of basic, I'll help you out, whatever.
I would say that's why I'm in the real estate industry. Because, listen, you know me, they don't. I've sold phones, I've sold cars, I've sold everything up the wazoo. But selling houses is the one sales job where I feel like I'm actually helping people. Whether I'm helping them with their dream getaway, I want to leave New York, I'm getting to Florida, or helping out the first-time home buyers who all they wanted was just to own their own home for the first time. Other sales positions, you kind of feel like you're getting one over on somebody, especially when you know the insides and outs of the industry, shout out car industry. But as selling real estate, I feel like it's the one sales job where doing your job, you get to help people.
And that's pretty cool. A lot of sales people don't focus on helping people, and that's just the nature of their industry. It's like, okay, let's just sell this product and get it out of the way. But I would say that real estate is more focused on helping because you're trying to give someone a good place to live. Like someone has to live in this house for the rest of their life. It's a little more weighty than a cell phone or a car that's going to be crashed or sold in 5 years.
Yeah, it's like it's like if I'm working with a buyer, I'm not trying to say, all right, you want to buy this house, because this house suits you. No, you're saying, okay, these are my needs, these are my wants, and then I'm trying to find what's perfect for you.
Yeah.
When you're doing other sales jobs, you're just trying to sell the product.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter if they're really looking for it. As long as you get that sale off, you're getting a pat on the back.
Yeah. And it's like, with houses too, it's like if it's not exactly what someone wants, they're not going to fucking buy it. It's a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
And it's stressful to move. But cell phone, all right, I didn't like this phone. I'm going to just sell it and trade it for a different thing.
Like, what's the difference between an iPhone 15 and a Galaxy S24.
Even a car, dude. I mean, it's like the car loses its value as soon as it's driven off the lot.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, if you're not crazy about the car after a year, you're going to sell it or it's going to get totaled. So it's just like, what do you want? You know, I mean, it's not like cars are expensive, don't get me wrong, but like, especially if you're buying a used car, you know, it's like, okay, I'm sick of this, I'll sell it. I know kids like Derek, bro, he has had 8 cars.
Really?
He's had 8 cars. People go through fucking cars, especially when you're younger. I mean, it's a rarity that I owned my Altima for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
That is fucking rare.
I'm thinking now, I've had my Civic for 5.
For 5? That's rare.
My mom had it before me. She gave me the car. She had it for 8 years.
8 years. That's rare.
Yeah.
That's rare. A lot of people tap out after 5.
I'd say a brand new car, a waste of money.
Yes.
Like
definitely.
you said, as soon as you drive off the lot, it loses equity. The highest equity drop off is in that first 3 years. But that's the thing about real estate is the best purchase you can make in your entire life.
Yeah.
Real estate is finite. So you drive your car off the lot, cars get totaled, new cars get made every single day.
Yeah.
Real estate is finite. There's only a certain amount of land on this earth.
Yeah.
So land is only going to increase in value as, you know, more of it gets taken up. And once you have that, it's yours.
Yeah.
That's why I know everyone has their different living situations, but I always encourage you to try to buy rather than rent. Because if you're renting, you're just paying someone else's mortgage. If you're paying your own mortgage, it is the best investment you can make because you're only gaining equity.
The next step for me is to buy a building.
Mm-hmm.
That's the next step. So, you know, I feel like it's easier to get, especially now, I feel like it's easier to get commercial real estate than it is residential, just because, one, the commercial market collapsed pretty much. There's so many vacant, I mean, even in here, there's so many vacant offices. They're renting them out for $10 an hour, for fuck's sake. I mean, but, you know, I even saw a TikTok of a guy, and I know that how the market works and everything, but the guy was like, listen, everyone's saying we should convert these empty office spaces into residential housing because they're just going to waste. But and he made a good point, and I agree with it. What people don't realize is that these houses, these office buildings are going to return their value again because the market is going to correct itself. So I think owning commercial real estate, I'd even argue owning or renting commercial space should be before residential, just because it's cheaper. I think it's cheaper.
It's definitely not cheaper. You know how much it costs to own a commercial lot?
I mean, if you have a building like this, it's a lot.
If you buy one house, you're buying a house for under $1 million. Very, very rare circumstance that you will ever buy commercial real estate for under $1 million.
Well, I mean, if you're buying commercial, but it's like
that's why you see
a standalone.
But that's why you see a lot of people, like you said, empty office spaces. You know why? Well, they're just going to hold it.
Well, I'm talking more about like empty standalone buildings.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not talking about like this building is multi-million-dollar investment, but if you have just like a standalone storefront that you could buy, it's gonna be under $1 million. Might even be under $5 million. Because I've seen like a 504 square foot.
Not in the state. Not in the state.
Really, you think so?
Do you know how much the median average for a home in Suffolk County is right now?
The homes are expensive. The average is like $650, right?
Median average for Suffolk County right now is $500,000.
$500,000.
You go to Nassau, it's $750,000.
Yeah, it's a lot.
You're not finding commercial real estate cheaper.
I don't know. I'm gonna wager my odds on that. But I mean, because I've been looking at the rent prices, and the rental prices is. I mean, I've been finding pretty decent offices for like.
Yeah, well, rent's a whole different thing.
Yeah, but
if you own the property, you own the property, and these companies, big name companies, they have the money, they have the equity, the cash to just put it up. And that's why you see a lot of empty spaces. If nobody's in there, well, they're not losing anything.
No.
Because the land in the property is only going to increase in value.
I'd love to get into just buying empty land and flipping it to developers. Like, just buy a bunch of, like, shit land upstate, and then just be like, all right, you know, wait 5 years.
It's a good business to get into.
Yeah.
I work with one of my investors. Honestly, he just flips a lot of like drug houses.
Really?
We had this one house. It was actually down the road from my house. It was completely trashed.
Really?
The entire downstairs. I guess it was definitely like a weed operation, but it was like completely set up. They were growing weed out of the basement, and it was a drug house. But the worst part about it was a drug house, but they had kids. There was children's rooms, and obviously they weren't taking care of them. Yeah. There was crayons, markers all over the walls. The entire place was disgusting, dirty. I just had my guy, he bought the property originally for his son. Gutted the entire thing, redid everything, and he did it himself. He runs his own business. Redid everything, and now they're renting it out for a year.
Oh, wow. How much is that rent?
I think it was $2,800.
$2,800? That's ridiculous.
That's for a whole house.
Really? Oh, for a whole house. Oh, okay. I thought it was like for a room or something.
No, whole house.
How many rooms is it?
I think it was 3 rooms.
Okay, that's not terrible.
3 rooms, 1 bath, basement, unfinished basement.
Not bad. It's nice to see drug houses get turned around. When my parents moved into our house, it was abandoned for 10 years. And there was like, when they walked in, it was like boxes up to the ceiling. There was, and then you go to the back, it was just broken bottles, trash, toys, garbage, like mounds of it. My dad threw out over 100 bags, 100 black garbage bags full of shit just to clean out the backyard. We still can't go in the backyard barefoot.
Wow.
Because of like how much shit was dumped back there.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, our neighbors would even tell us stories. So it's nice to hear like how houses that were drug houses or whore houses actually get like turned into something decent. But that is something I've been looking into. It's just, you know, needing the capital for it and doing an FHA. And then, like, I was even thinking about buying a house just to rent it out, but then I have to be the landlord. And I don't know a damn thing about it, so I'd have to pay someone to be, like, the property manager.
And that's the problem. If you want to do an FHA has a lot of restrictions on what has to be done to a house before you buy it.
I see.
So if it's a drug house like that, you're going to run into some complications because either the seller would have to take care of it before closing. Oh, so it has to be pretty much move-in ready. Has to be move-in ready, and there's okay. That's kind of that way it prevents speculation and turning it into a business. Yes, no. Okay. What is the first-time home buyers? First-time home buyers A. What does that mean? FHA. It's First-time home buyers association. No. So an FHA is a type of mortgage. Okay. There's different mortgage loans. Like you have your conventional mortgage, FHA. There's a VA, and really, I mean, the conventional mortgage is the mortgage that most people go through, but other mortgages, like a VA mortgage, is for veterans. Like they all have like certain stipulations, so where they will give you that loan. I see. Essentially. I see. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I want to get into the real estate portion of it again. Like it's just there's a lot of startup costs and loans that you have to take out. That's like I want to have 3 businesses at some point. This is obviously going to be the primary, but then I'd love to open a gym and I'd love to also flip land and real estate. There's a lot of ways to make money in this country. You just got to take risks. It's pretty much. I mean, definitely. Pretty much. I mean, this was a huge risk for how I started my company. Look at you now. Yeah, now we're here. Now we're here at 80 Orville Drive. It's been a year in the making. Actually, so I started in 2022, but I went full time with it in July of 23, so it's not even a year yet. Oh, really? Wow. Yeah, it's not even a fucking year yet. It's close, but... Close. You got a couple months left? I've been consistently making profit.
through since I've started, which is very difficult for a lot of. That's unheard of for a lot of businesses. Mm-hmm. It's unheard of, and I think the reason why that's true for me is because one, startup cost for a media company has decreased dramatically over the last 30 years, and two, I focused more on marketing. A lot of media companies or people in my industry, when they go into business, they focus on one thing or two things. They niche the shit out of it, mm-hmm. and it's usually social media content creation or graphic design mm-hmm. paired with videography. So maybe three things. I do everything.
The amount of people I have ringing my phone saying, "Oh, we do social media marketing for real estate agents, blah, blah, blah."
Click. Because you got a guy. No, I'm just kidding. But it's just, and this is the thing too, like there's too many niches like that where it's like, oh, we do it for real estate agents. And it's like they offer the same thing. There's no diversification in their offerings. There's people that do it for like martial arts schools. There's people that do it strictly for this. It's like you're limiting your market pool mm-hmm. dramatically by doing that. I do social media marketing, videography, graphic design, photography, podcast production, podcast sales. So I sell advertising on podcasts. And then I do, what was the other one? Websites. And then website management. So I do 9 things. So when I walk into a networking group or I walk into the Chamber of Commerce, and I'm not even intimidated by all the other media people there, because it's like I can do everything you guys do. Like I don't care. Like you do social media, okay, cool. I'll focus on videography. Mm-hmm. Oh, you do websites, okay, cool. I'll focus on photo. I don't care. And then there's subcontracting as well. So there's a lot of competition.
Say, would you say that you feel like your profit margins are a lot higher right now because you don't have a lot of running costs, of course, besides this office right now? Because once you already bought your equipment, you have your equipment, you know?
I would say that the running cost is mostly in the software mm-hmm. and new equipment. So yeah, I have the equipment, but 2 or 3 years from now, I'm going to have to write another check. And then I'm always going to have to buy new stuff. So I bought some drones today. Guarantee you I'm going to need to buy different drones in 6 months. Because mm-hmm. Because that's the one service that I don't have in-house is drones. I can subcontract people out for drones, but they have their own pricing. And then half the time I can't even mark it up because I know the client is going to be like, dude, like I could get it for $3 somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So that's another problem I face is where I have to almost do everything in-house, because if I was to subcontract out, half the time it's going to be too expensive for the client. Now, when I look at, so running costs, it's mostly software that kills me. Mm-hmm. Software and then new equipment upgrades, or realizing that I need a different software to do something immediately. And subcontracting. Mm-hmm. Those are my 2 running costs.
In the real estate industry, it's a little bit different. Mm-hmm. It depends what broker you're with, because some brokers kind of do everything like completely online.
Right.
Like an EXP Realty, they'll offer you like a higher commission split, like in 80%. For those of you who don't know, real estate agents split their commission with the broker unless they're a broker themselves. But some brokers will be like completely online. They'll be like, all right, I'll give you more of a commission split, and then because most of the resources are online. My broker, because we're here real in person, they'll do things for me like, you have a listing, we have a person who does the signs. You don't have to worry about doing a sign, because if not, then I would have to buy my own signs. I would have to buy my own
everything, really. Business cards, promotional flyers.
That type of stuff I still buy. Okay. Like I have to buy my own business cards. My company does. They make us promotional flyers.
Okay.
So.
Well, I mean, and there's trade-offs to that. So it's like, yeah, you get a higher split with EXP, but you have to do everything yourself because mm-hmm. there's no home office. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I guess that really kind of comes down to preference as to what you'd want.
There's a lot. There's definitely a lot that goes into it. Like every which way, every angle. But running and with those online brokerages, where I was getting at is they'll charge you a monthly fee just to be with them. Like I used to be with Keller Williams Realty, and my actual office was all the way out in Hauppauge. But because they were like, oh, we're all the way out here, you're all the way out there, because of how far out east I am, they said, all right, we're going to offer you a higher split. But that agency charged me a monthly fee of $115 just to be with them. Now, other agencies don't charge that. But it's all about like what they offer. So in like my type of industry, there could be a lot of different types of running costs. Like say, even if I wanted to most of it's marketing for the most part, of course, business cards. If I want to run Zillow ads, or it could be on anything like Realtor.com, Redfin. But the majority of what agents spend is on leads, like lead generation.
I see. Huh. Yeah, I would say that goes into marketing as well, lead generation. Marketing is a big running cost, but as we're coming to the end here, I wanted to thank you for coming on Backpacking America, and is there any information you want to leave the people before you get out of here? Be phone number, way to contact you, stuff like that.
My name is Anthony Natale. Like I said, I am a local realtor, and I service the entire Suffolk County area. My main office is in Wading River. My phone number is 631-317-9676, and I like to provide service to anyone who is looking to buy or sell or rent anything real estate wise. I'm your guy.
Well, Anthony, thank you so much for coming on Backpacking America.